I want you to tell me one crazy story about church over your lifetime of going to church now.
Wow.
Think of something that was like, this is out of control. Maybe it was a good thing now, but back in the day, you thought this is crazy. I'll tell you one.
Okay, I can tell you one. No, because you're going to take my story.
I don't think I will, but I
think you
remember
will.
going to this church that we're talking about, and I remember watching a guy run up at the wall.
That's
and
the one I was going to say.
You were going to talk about the backflip?
Really?
Go ahead.
Yes.
No
There
way.
you go.
No, I just remember, was his name Pete?
Yes.
Pete did a backflip off the wall,
Yes.
and I thought, what in the world Cirque du Soleil church am I in today? That was crazy. The guy landed it, too, which I thought was pretty impressive.
He
Yes.
stuck the landing.
I'll be honest with you. We've been in enough charismatic churches to know not everything there is Holy Spirit.
That's right.
But that was pretty impressive, but it was definitely crazy. Anyway,
Yes.
get another one now.
Well, now I have to think. Okay. You took that
Well,
one.
let me tell you something.
Okay, tell me something.
I was, at some point in time at Living Waters, I was the choir director. And all of a sudden, they brought in another fella without telling me anything about it. And it devastated me. They said, he's our choir director. And I thought I've been doing that for weeks, if not months or years. All of a sudden, they took over. They didn't even tell me about it. It just happened. That devastated me. And I realized I got to get out of here. And I spoke to the Holy Spirit about that. He says, no, I want you to stay. I want you to be a testimony and a witness. And all the choir members, I heard about, they told me later that this was a testimony, that the fact that I still continued there. And I actually warmed up the choir when the other guy was just on the stage waiting to do this thing. And I realized God showed me that was a test that I went through, and I did fairly well on it because I didn't get upset and tell people I'm finished with this church. And I moved on, and I continued on, and it was good for me.
And I got a story. So getting involved in the church, once you go to church long enough, you do need to get involved somewhere. We have gifts and talents that help us maybe get directed to the right spot. So I became an usher. And then one service, we had a drunk guy come in. And, well, we've had more than one. But this one was pretty drunk, and so the head usher told me, you stay next to him. We don't want any problems. And I said, okay. So he doesn't he go all the way up to the front row and sits in the very front, and the pastor and the pulpit's only like 10 feet away. And so I sit down next to him. So all of a sudden, the service gets started, and he starts to stand up. And I stood up and said, you got to sit down. And he looked at me funny. He sat back down. And then within another 5 minutes, he goes to stand up again. So I pull the back of his jacket.
That wasn't me, was
No, it wasn't you. You were sober that Sunday. So I pull the back of his jacket to pull him back down in his chair, and he looks at me again. He's starting to get angry, and the third time he goes to get up, I pull him back down in his chair because I didn't want him going up onto the stage. And finally he leans over and he goes, I'm trying to go to the bathroom. I said, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Wow, I thought you were going to say he was the senior pastor.